Hi, good evening. So I'm going to take you through the DF3 library for JavaScript. This library is used for visualization. It can also enable animation and all that. So now I first got data. I got data for Spot from the Spotify website. Then I cleaned the data and I formed the pivot table. Yes, for the year versus the time of the count of the times music has been played during that year. And then I also got the platform. Here you see Android, here you see Cast, here you see the various platforms that I used. Then I exported this data as JSON. You see clearly I exported it as JSON by putting it in here in this website, so that I convert all the data into JSON. After converting the data into JSON, I input it in the my code as data. Now, for example, for the year versus for the sum of the music played versus the year, this is the data. I assign it to a variable called data. Then I call the library. The library is locally installed as you see here. This is the library, d3.v7.js. This is the library I'm using vanilla JavaScript. So for the first visualization, I go in here, import the data as JSON. Then I initialize the height, width, the margins, and then I set the scale. This scale I use for the horizontal axis, this one, and this scale I use for the y-axis. The domain, this is the range in which our data falls, and then the range is the actual width of the scale in terms of the pixels. You get the same applies to this one. This is the range. This is the range, the actual pixels of the scale, and then this is the range of our data. That's the domain. Then we create an SVG by this code here. An SVG is sort of like, it's like annex XML that can be used to do various things like images, text, anything you can draw using SVG. It is normally suitable for icons, all that. So this is the SVG, the code that creates it, the SVG. Then we attach, from here we attach the x-axis that we have done the other up. Yes, and then we also attach the y-axis from there. Then after attaching our scales, it is time to attach our line. But before attaching our line, we need to first make a line. So this line is like going to be like our line graph. So we call on our function, and then we pass in our arguments, which later call the attributes of the data. The attributes of the data we have the year, we have the sum of the music played. So they go in here. So we pass in data and it returns it returns the corresponding y value, and this one returns the corresponding x value, and this is here. And then after that we pass in this variable. Since it is vanilla JavaScript, you can have a variable and then invoke it as as a function, given that it has the corresponding objects inside, stored inside. So we have line, and we pass in our data. This function here is going to return values that comprises of commands that instruct how the SVG is going to draw the graph. And after that, here we append the SVG to our container. The container is up. Yes, this is the container. So the result of the music played versus the year gives us this versus year. It shows the trend from 2013 to 2024, and normally it is generally giving us an upward trend, showing that the amount of music played keeps on increasing per year, with only variations, but that the general trend is an upward trend. So we are having music played here, the y-axis music played, but you multiply it times 100,000, because now you need to make this one scale neat. And then this x-axis is there. I also have the music played versus the platform. It follows the same. I got it from this sheet here, this pivot table. Then I converted it into JSON. After converting it into JSON, I assigned the JSON to a variable known as data. After assigning it to data, I walked through the same process, only that here on the x-axis we now change the scale from scale linear to scale point, because now we are dealing with strings as our x-axis values, and then our y is scale linear, is the same concept we saw the other side. Then we go ahead now. Since now I'm going to draw area, I call the function area, and then I pass on the attributes that will return the corresponding variables, depending on whether it is an x is on the x-axis or it's on the y-axis. This function, this variable now will be now the one which is passed into the attribute for the D attribute of the SVG. 3 SVG file. So now this function here, we will be now the one which is passed into the attribute for the D attribute of the SVG file. So now this function here, we will be now the one which is passed into the attribute for the D attribute of the SVG file. So now this function here, we will be now the one which is passed into the attribute for the D attribute of the SVG file. So now this function here is the one that returns the values that contains the commands on how to draw the graph, an area graph, and we append the SVG file on the container. Our result is showing the music played versus the platform area. So now we are seeing that generally, and most of the songs are played on Android, as a platform than any of the other platforms. And we are having that music played count versus here we show an upward trend as the years goes by. So in our phase of data analytics, we just need to additional data in order to link the platform and the music and the what and the platform of the Android device, and then the year, so that we know whether there is a corresponding relationship between the platform and the years. So that's how the D3 actually works. It is a library, JavaScript library that is used to make charts or visualizations. Thank you.
Okay.